I'm CJ.
I'm Kevin, and you're watching Laketoria Nights, a show where two cousins play video games and talk about entertainment stuff like movies, TV shows, video games, and everything in between. Today we're playing the game, Elder Scrolls Online, and it looks like CJ's trying to get in shape or getting himself psyched up for this dungeon. So, do you know anything about the dungeon that we're about to walk into today?
I went into this dungeon before when I was a lower level, and I really got my ass kicked. So I'm looking to kind of get redemption here.
Oh, okay, yeah, well that makes sense. Well, we have a returning friend, Andy. Say hello, Andy.
Hey guys.
And I guess we're gonna go in here and kick some ass and hopefully get some redemption for CJ. Ready when you are.
Yep, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Ooh. Woo. So we'll start off with a cousin catch-up section. What'd you do this week, CJ?
It's been a pretty busy week. When the government briefly shut down,
Right.
I had to get ready for reassignment. And right after I got my reassignment, the government reopened, and I got another reassignment. So I'll be covering a larger area, and plus I got to watch some football, a lot of good games. I'm amped for the Super Bowl in 2 weeks.
Woo!
And yeah. Eagles, black. Anyway, and my neighbor the other day, when he went to work and his wife was taking his daughter to the bus stop because it was kind of a rainy day. I don't know what happened, but when his daughter came outside, his car was on fire. So we had like the whole commotion of fire trucks and stuff like that in the neighborhood. Thank God nobody was hurt. I guess something happened with his car battery from what he was telling me.
Right.
But yeah, everyone's safe and sound, so that's always good to hear.
So the car battery exploded or something?
He doesn't know exactly what happened. He just told me from what the firefighters told him it was something with his car battery.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't go into a lot of detail asking. I just wanted to make sure his family was okay. You know, they're good neighbors, nice people. Finally, I didn't believe it was one moment Carter waking up to tell me.
Right.
I thought Carter was just playing games. But no, it was just for emergency. But how was your weekend?
Was, Eagles going to the Super Bowl. That was pretty cool. Other than that, now I'm drawing a blank about what I did on Saturday. Was there anything big we did on Saturday? No, I didn't do anything Saturday. I think I slept. Oh, no. Yeah, I didn't do anything Saturday. We just watched TV. We were watching that Showtime show episodes with Mac LeBlanc, which is oddly entertaining.
Okay.
And
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It's actually kind of funny. I didn't think it was going to be that good, but I liked it. And then, well, like I told you before, Billy got me a PS4, so I had some games to trade in because he wanted me to get the Final Fantasy 15 so we could play Comrade together. So I went to trade in my game, and I ended up getting like $60 for 4 games. And these were like all my Black Friday games that I bought. That I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna play these. I'm trading these in, and I ended up getting more money than I bought them for. And then I decided to put down a deposit on Dissidia, and it gave me an extra $5 to the overall total. So I ended up leaving with 3 PlayStation 4 games.
That's cool. GameStop is always good for having those trading sales, and if you put something on a certain game, getting the extra trade value.
Right. But
are you like a pro member or an elite pro member?
I'm elite pro member. I realized that when I looked at my card, and I'm wondering, does that affect your trade-in value?
I think
Yeah,
it
you get
affects
extra
the
trading
deals.
value.
Yeah. That's why they were saying it's like up to 40% extra
Right.
on that. I think if you're Elite Pro, that's when you get the full 40%, and if you're not, then it's some mix of whatever. It's probably
Okay.
like 20 for non-members, 30 for pro members, and 40 for Elite Pro, something like that.
Either way, I was pretty happy.
Yeah. That's good. GameStop always has good deals. Shout out to GameStop. Where you can buy and sell used games.
I gotta touch that sword? Alright.
Yeah.
Well, it seems
It
like
starts
kind
a
of
mission.
oh, okay. It seems like it's kind of I won't say boring week, but a kind of nice and easy week, I guess you can say. Nothing crazy, nothing
Yeah,
out of
it's
the
like-
ordinary. Huh?
Those are always
Yeah,
good.
I think I was a little worried about how long the shutdown might last.
Right.
Because that would affect a lot of the business that I do. But they got a kind of a continuance. The government can still shut down again in the next 3 weeks, but nothing's set to happen for at least the next 17 business days. Gotta pull the lever.
Oh. There you go.
No, but that's good financially.
All right then. We'll move on to the next section with our friend Andy, and hopefully he has something interesting or something cool. I told him
Why'd
just
you
to
say
bring
that
something
so
up.
snarky?
Well, I'm not trying to be snarky.
Well,
I'm just saying
hopefully he has
Our
some
friend Andy.
we haven't named the Andy segment of this thing yet. So I'm just
Could just
saying.
call it the Andy segment.
Fine, we're calling it the Andy segment until he comes up with something better or someone says something about it. So in the Andy segment, he's gonna bring up something that he may have found or something that's interesting. So did you find anything?
I
or-
did, and it will be of particular interest to CJ. I know how you're a big fan of the Fable series.
I sure am.
It looks
Chicken
like...
Chaser Deluxe.
That's right. You have to have 5 million kids. It looks like a new Fable game is being worked on by Playground, the company that normally makes Forza, and I'm not sure if they've done any other games. But yeah, look, apparently they're going to be working on a new big budget open world action RPG, and a lot of signs are pointing to it being a new Fable game. So I thought you, of all people, would particularly enjoy that bit of info.
Definitely.
So then-
Fable really is one of my all-time favorite games.
So then to be clear, that they canceled that other Fable game where you can have 5 players play and
Lionhead Studios shut down. They were working on the MMO Fable game, or not MMO, I guess, but the online multiplayer Fable. And when they went out of business, the whole production on that thing stopped. So it looks like they've hired up 200 new people, and they're going to be working on something. Anyways, Microsoft has neither, confirmed nor denied that it's going to be a Fable game, but there's a lot of signs pointing to it. I don't think they'll be picking up where Lionhead left off with an MMO or an online version of it, though.
So wait, was there an online version of it for Fable 3 or was it just for 2?
No. Well, you know what? I don't know. I didn't really play Fable 3.
I don't think so. I didn't play much of Fable 3 because I was kind of burnt out by the series by then.
Right.
Reasonably so.
One thing about Fable is it lacked progression in the sense that if you played Fable 1 and you played Fable 2 and 3, the story just changes a little bit.
But the cool part about Fable 2 was you got to bring your friends in with you. Right?
Yeah, but it wasn't... You know when you try something new and it doesn't work out, but you should probably keep going with it to fix it, tighten it up.
Right.
That's kind of where that was. It wasn't great. And I feel like if they progress towards an MMO, that's where, you know, that's where it should have gone to. It's like they kind of half-stepped into multiplayer.
I see. So they're still getting their feet wet. Well, I'm not sure how the multiplayer was for the third one, because I don't think I've ever played it. I've owned the game a couple of times, but never played Fable 3.
You own it right now.
Yeah, I do. I tried to trade it in, and they're like, well, you can get 3 cents for it, so you can try and sell it somewhere else, or... And I'm like, alright, I'll just keep it. So I'm wondering if it's backwards compatible. If I can play it here on this Xbox.
I think it is. I think it might be. I'd say check the store. I know Fable... You know what? Fable 3 is backwards compatible.
Sweet. Then maybe I'll just play this game out of spite. I don't know who, but I might just play the game out of spite just because I can't trade it in.
You know what games are coming out in 48
yeah,
hours.
That's right.
time.
Yeah, you're right. That's a lie. I'm not gonna play that game. I've only been what? No, I've just been playing some of the PlayStation games that I've had, but that's about it. So, yeah, you're right.
Sell stuff to CJ's vendor.
Oh,
do yourself
fine.
a favor.
Well, no, not now. I can go. Keep going.
Yeah, for once I'm maxed out on items.
Oh, so you're selling
So
all
I
your
can make a
stuff?
little pit stop and sell some stuff, yeah.
Okay. Well, since CJ is making a pit stop and selling things, we'll move on to the next section, which is the Dragon Ball Z Throwdown, since we were just talking about it. Apparently, the voice actor to Vegeta, which is, I think his name is Chris Sabat, and he kind of challenged Goku, the English voice. His name, I believe, is Schemmel. I'm really bad with names, Jesus. Well, both of those English voice actors are going to have like a throwdown. So you have the English voice of Vegeta challenging the English voice of Goku, and it's a pretty. I'm pretty excited about it because I want to see how it comes down. And just watching the back and forth between them on Twitter is kind of funny and hilarious. And the fact that Funimation and Namco Bandai picked up on it and basically said, "Yeah, okay, yeah, well, we're behind this. Let's do this. We want to see the outcome." So I was gonna ask you, CJ, if you've seen the back and forth between it, and did I start with B instead of A? Or first? No, it doesn't matter. Oh, I did say A. Okay. And B, who do you think's gonna win the throwdown?
This episode was brought to you by the letter 4.
Okay, when I thought about the back and forth, I would have loved if they did it in their characters' voices. Because, personally, since I watch the Japanese version more so than I watch the English dubbed version,
Right.
I couldn't tell you who the voice of Vegeta or Goku was if I saw them without hearing them do it.
Right. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough.
And even then, even if someone came up to me, let's say the actor of Vegeta came up to me and used his Vegeta voice, I think the first thing I would say is, "Yo, that's a really good impression of Vegeta." That's the first thing. So I feel like if they did their back and forth with their actual character voices, that would have been awesome. But the way that they did go back and forth with busting out the horn and sitting by the fake fireplace, and then their jabs at each other, it was entertaining. So I definitely do want to see him throw down. I will say this, judging by how, when someone throws down a challenge, I feel like they're ready to go. And I think Vegeta's getting the best of Goku.
You think he's gonna win?
I'm calling it now.
What do you think, Andy?
I'm gonna have to agree with CJ on this one. Like, I feel like if he's initiating the challenge, he's at least somewhat versed in fighting games, so you gotta hope he's got the skills to back up whatever sort of shade he's thrown out.
Okay, well, I'm not sure.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
They've been the voice of these characters for 18 years, roughly. Right?
Our enemies
Right.
No, I'm right here.
Oh, sweet.
So they've been
Okay.
the voice of these characters for 18 years.
Right.
Why are we now doing this fight?
I think it's
This
because
fight is like
the
5 Budokais ever did.
Yeah,
but
but
I
this...
think it's because this is like the first like really good Dragon Ball Z fighter, not like an action combat game like the Budokai games.
But then again, I see CJ's
Dragon Ball
point.
GT for the PlayStation.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it wouldn't be for that game though. It would have been for Budokai 3. I think Budokai 3 was one of the best fighting games in the series, and they could have done it for that. Well, after
I think the
after
reason
Friday,
I
I'll
like Dragon Ball
probably too.
GT so much and why I bring it up is because it was the first game that I can remember that had like that real leveling system.
Oh, where you can pump
I
up
could
the
take
fighters.
like I could take like my custom Goku versus like your custom Vegeta or Pan or whoever you were at that time,
Right.
and have like a real battle. You know what I mean?
I still remember when we modded my PlayStation so we could play those games.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
I
UB22
remember
and
when I
Legends.
got the place. I remember when I got the mod kit, and it literally was like
It was a
a
spring.
spring that you put in.
It was a spring.
And
It wasn't
I
even a mod
paid
kit.
$40 for a spring.
They're like, gotcha.
It was not
Pretty
a mod
much.
kit, it was a spring. Oh my god. That was so funny.
No, it just feels so weird that this fight is so long in the making. And I'm not saying like they should have did it with. I'm not saying this isn't the best game to do it with. I agree.
Right.
It's the best game to have this fight. It's just
Yeah.
you feel like since there's been so many Dragon Ball games that have come out that it's never even come up. You know what I mean?
Right. But
You know,
I
I'm
feel
also not sure as to when these guys became the voice actors of.
I think it's when
Goku.
Funimation
Well,
officially
Vegeta's been
picked up.
doing it for 18 years.
Well,
No, they-
I don't
Most
know
of Vegeta's been
when.
doing Vegeta's voice for the past 18 years.
I think they had.
I
I
don't
think
know
there's a
about
different
Goku.
voice. I'm pretty sure there was a different voice with Vegeta. I think Vegeta changed as
Well,
well.
I'm saying he said in his one video that he's been doing Vegeta's voice for
Oh, for 18 years. Yeah.
Or I saw in a different video where he's doing an interview. He's done Vegeta's voice for 18 years for the English version.
Right.
I don't know about Goku, but I feel like this would have come up a long time ago. You know what I really want to see?
What?
Let's have them dress up as the characters and have like a backstreet brawl.
A real fight?
Yes, a real
you want
fight.
the characters to dress up and have a real fight and actually fight each other?
I bet you it
Not
would be
big-
better than Dragon Ball Evolution.
No, that's terrible. Why would you say that? And no one wants to talk
What,
about
that
Dragon
those
Ball
two fighting in
Evolution.
real
That
life
was.
would be better than Dragon Ball Evolution.
That's
Tell me
yeah.
the truth.
No. Okay.
I'm
That's
always going to
just.
be honest with our viewers.
So apparently, the Son Goku voice
Especially
actor
two-
has
two
been doing
overweight
Goku since about the same time that Vegeta has. So I'm not sure why. The only thing I can think of is they were waiting for, like, basically a fight.
Well,
I feel like only one of-
well, the
I feel
English
like only
game,
one
the
of them
English.
plays games.
Well, yeah, one of
That's
them
also
plays
possible.
games, but I kind of feel like that when they finished Dragon Ball, I mean, that was ages ago.
Yeah.
When they finished it, so it was like, well, why else would they be together unless they're doing other voices within
Well, no, like he
Funimation?
did. They both did the voices for Dragon Ball Kai, which was redone in 2010.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like there were a number of things keeping them busy, basically.
Yeah, I just feel like something, like, even if it wasn't them challenging each other in a game, I feel like something would have come up sooner. I feel like this would have been much cooler if this was years in the making, that we could, like, chronicle. Have a nice little video package. But I still say have them go, 3 rounds in someone's backyard.
Like real
Dressed up-
fighting, like backyard wrestling, whatever crap that you want to see. Them dressed up as their character.
All we have to do is
Think
get
of
them
it,
plasma
two
launchers.
slightly overweight two slightly overweight middle-aged men playing Goku and Vegeta.
You a monster. That's why would you want to see that?
I mean,
I don't think it's going to be nearly as satisfying. I don't think it's going to be nearly as satisfying as actually watching Goku and Vegeta fight instead of seeing two middle-aged men who probably don't know martial arts and will probably just fall
they can do
over
it in their
and
voices too.
No, that's just weird and awkward. That's what that is. It's like, I don't know how to feel about this.
You wanna go run down to In-N-Out? I could really go for a burger.
All right. Well, okay, fine. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Just for the sake of being different, I'm gonna put my money on Goku. I feel like he's gonna pull his typical Goku stuff and actually beat him. And I feel like it'd be funnier if he did, because I kind of feel like he's the one that doesn't play the games or understands how any of it works. And I think it'd be funnier if he just won, and you're like, well, poor Vegeta.
Oh, I
What if
agree.
he just straight up whoops up on him?
Yeah, I think if
He gets like
Goku's voice actor
triple
wins,
perfects.
that would be amazing. If Goku wins, I'll be really happy about that. Just because it will lend some credence to the to the rivalry.
Right.
I want all perfects. I want Goku to just mop the floor with them all perfects.
Man, that would be really tough in fighters.
Especially that game.
It would be. But
That's
I
literally
think
he has to go. He has to fight 9
seeing
enemies
Vegeta.
without getting touched.
I feel like it would just be funny to see Vegeta lose that way.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like on video while they're doing it, the voice actor for Goku has to eat a cheeseburger.
As he's playing the game one-handed and just beats Vegeta.
Mm-hmm. Because you know Kakarot doesn't take training too seriously all the time.
In training in high gravity, you're eating a cheeseburger.
Yeah, I feel like watching them play. I want to see them go back and forth in their character voices, and I think it'd be really entertaining to watch.
I do hope that they use their character voices while they're doing the fighting game.
I think it'd be disappointing if they didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole point. It's like, why?
I mean, they challenged each other without it. Which in itself was disappointing to me.
Yeah, well. I would be mad if they didn't use their voices and they just had the fight and it's like, oh, this person wins. And I guess it wouldn't even matter to me. Whoever won, if they didn't use their voices, I'd be like, you've wasted my time, Funimation. Shame on you, Namco Bandai. There we go, I tried to combine the names.
Namco Bankai.
Yeah. Bankai.
Let me show you my Namco Bankai.
That is my new final attack. Alright, well, moving on then.
Oh god.
To our final section. It's CJ's rants. And normally what happens is at this time, CJ will have something that just comes out of nowhere that I've never thought of before, and he usually has like a rant about something that's, you know, normally valid. So CJ, do you have a rant for us today?
Always
It's
valid.
normally valid.
First of all, always.
You're gonna make his
What?
rant about you discrediting his rants.
No, I have a good one.
Okay.
I think it's time that game developers stand up. And what I mean by that is, I think it's time for across the board, cross-platform gaming. Now hear me out. People have their, you know, I like PlayStation, I like Xbox, I like PC. And they all have valid arguments for each system. I really don't care what system. But I think with certain games, especially in the world where e-leagues are starting to dominate,
Right.
like esports are starting to dominate the gaming scene, there needs to be a bigger emphasis on making more games of a cross-platform. So like a game like Sea of Thieves, or a game like Madden, it doesn't, or even ESO like we're playing now. It doesn't matter what console or PC you're playing on. The fact that we could all play together is the direction that gaming needs to start going in. And I know Microsoft wants to head in that direction, still doing more games that are cross-platform with PC.
Right.
I think it's time for PlayStation to get on the ball. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to your actual console sales don't make companies that much money anyway. So you're not taking a big loss by doing cross-platform gaming or allowing cross-platform gaming per se. So I think that's what we need to start when it comes to gaming. Because what else is there?
Well, I can totally agree with that, considering I just traded in Final Fantasy 15 for the X1 just so I can play it for the PS4, and now I gotta start all over again because I beat the game and I lost everything I earned. And I'm like, all this just so I can play with my friend.
Exactly. It shouldn't be that way. We should be able to just say there should be able to be a server dedicated for cross-platform gaming, and even if it means your Xbox Live or your PlayStation Network account costs, $15 more a year, it is well worth it to be able to have cross-platform gaming. Well worth it.
I would pay 15.
People
I
have the
think 15 would
preferences
be
on the
enough.
consoles they want to play.
Right.
If you look at it, people like PlayStation and people like Xbox for reasons that are irrelevant. The only platform that's relevant in what's better or worse is PC. That's it. And if you're not willing to spend the money to keep up with the Joneses on a PC, then what are you really doing anyway?
And even now, that's getting more and more expensive thanks to all the freaking cryptocurrencies and stuff like that coming out.
Exactly. It's about time it's about time developers just say enough and start doing for the actual gamer, because they're going to make their money anyway.
Well, so the problem there isn't actually on the developers' ends. Their net code is almost, 90% the same regardless of what console or computing system it's on.
Well, I agree with that. When I say the developer taking a stand, the less exclusives the developer makes for a console, the more power the developer has in saying, this is the direction we want to go with gaming. And then the companies that are paying these developers to make their games would have to kind of couch out, say, okay, this is where we're going to go.
Yeah, I get that. My only
More of a
thing
power
is,
play, not more of they can't do it.
The thing is, developers aren't going to turn down a job just to stand up for a strike against console exclusivity. If that, at the end of the day, if that's what's getting them a paycheck, they're going to take it. And just because they can't afford not to, ultimately. And
and that's what sucks. It's like you're between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. And so, what I think it really falls down on is that Sony and Microsoft basically need to, stop getting in the gamer's way.
I know Microsoft is open to cross-platform and has said at different conferences that they're willing to do cross-platform with PlayStation.
Oh, so Sony's the jerk about this.
Well, so...
And if that's the case, I would say either Sony needs to speak up and defend themselves, because right now only Microsoft's talking. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Sony's being a dick.
Yeah.
I don't know that to be a fact.
I'll play devil's
Sony's
advocate.
not being a dick, then Sony needs to say something.
Yeah. I'll play devil's advocate here, because I remember this experience quite well back when I was playing Final Fantasy XI, however many years ago that was. At that point in time, I want to say it was for the Xbox 360, Microsoft was trying to push Final Fantasy XI as an online game, because they had just started out that console and they didn't have any games coming out for it that were online. And when they tried to market it, they were demanding that there be play online servers for it, but at the same time, they were also trying to make it so that people had to pay for Xbox Live in the same for that game that they were already going to be paying a subscription service for.
So they're paying double for the subscription and for Live.
Yeah, if you wanted to play on Xbox, you would end up having to pay a subscription for Final Fantasy XI and a subscription for Xbox Live. And they said, no, we're not going to do that because no one's going... It wouldn't be worth the server space and server allocation for Final Fantasy XI players on Xbox because they just weren't going to draw enough business from it. And ultimately, Microsoft finally eased up and settled for having it be like Xbox Live Silver or whatever the free version of it's called.
Oh, okay, so that's how that happens.
And that's what ended up allowing that to happen, but it took like a year and a half for them to finally waver on it, at which point there was no reason for them to even bother with putting the game on the Xbox because they already had a few multiplayer titles under their belt by then. And it just made zero sense.
Microsoft isn't perfect. Microsoft has done really shitty things in the past. But with Microsoft making that commitment now to multiplayer and online gaming, I think it's time to reopen the conversation of cross-platforming and seeing where it goes. And you can start with small games. You know what I mean? You don't
absolutely.
have to have every game cross-platforming. But when you look at even sporting games, make it cross-platform. What's the reason not to? You know what I mean? Madden is the same on Xbox as it is on the PC as it is on PlayStation.
So
EA,
the only
cross-platforming.
The only reason that I know of for developers not wanting to have PC and console systems be in the same sort of environment is because of the competitive nature of some of those games. If you play a first-person shooter on PC and you're using mouse and keyboard, you have an immediate
with certain games,
advantage.
I feel like you shouldn't do it. Yeah, I feel like with certain games you can't do it, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with first-person shooters being exclusive to PC having its own community and consoles having their own community.
Yeah.
But even then, even having a small window of being able to play Call of Duty with someone on PlayStation is a big deal.
Okay, so then...
I agree.
So
I
then,
don't think there's any gamer out there who doesn't want, like, everyone to be able to play with one another unless they're being contrary just to be contrary. It just ultimately it comes down to the viability of it, because part of the problem is that you can't take a game like, now that esports are becoming a thing, you can't take certain games like, take Overwatch as a basic example of a game where you don't want your PC players and your console players playing together. It's going to cause a disparity in the available player skill, and there was a bow there. Drop something like that. And
same thing with like Player Unknown and games like
exactly.
that. And I'm with you 100% on that. And I wouldn't even take that fight if someone were to say, "Oh, we want this cross-platform too." I'd be like, "No." But I just think that there's certain games, and developers and consumers know what games they are that should definitely be considered for a cross-platform atmosphere, just to expand on those esport games. Because even right now, as we speak, in NBA 2K, they have a My Player League where you can actually get your My Player drafted onto a team of, I think, 11 other My Players, and you're going to be playing NBA season where you're actually getting a contract to play for that team like you're a real NBA player.
Oh, cool.
You know what I mean? So the fact that sports teams are going in that direction, I know with me, like having a Madden league that we annually do, and we usually get about 20 to 25 people in the league, but they're all on Xbox. And I have friends because I'm part of this group on Facebook, the National Gamers Association, where we started this Madden League. So it's not just people that I know in Coatesville, Chester County area. There's people who live in Michigan, people who live in Chicago. There's a guy who's in the military who's stationed in Japan right now, all in this Madden League. And if you can get more interest, because there's people on those chats that say, well, if you had a PlayStation, I'd do you know what I mean? Well,
so what you're saying is,
PlayStation to play
if all this was together, if everything was on not one platform, but all platforms sharing, I guess that type of
if the servers were shared between consoles,
life would be easier. And I do agree with you. It's something that they should look into.
I think games would get more shine, and you'd be able to you could monetize on cross-platforming for like EA or 2K Sports or 2K Games rather.
Right.
Could monetize heavily on cross-platforming.
All right. Well then we'll
And
leave it
not
at
every
there.
game can do it, but
Right, but we'll leave it there then. Well, I understand not every game can do it, but there are the pros and cons to it. But I would agree with your rant, sir. So we'll keep it there. We're gonna end the show here. So all right, watch my back. I don't want to get killed. All right, we're gonna end the show here. So you guys, give me your catchphrases, and we're gonna sign off. Go ahead, Andy. You go first.
I ain't got a catchphrase this week.
All right.
Sincerely, Andy.
All right, go ahead, CJ.
Interesting.
That's a pretty good catchphrase.
Is that your catchphrase?
Yeah.
All right, fine. Well, this is Kevin saying, "Always remember to pillage
It
before you
doesn't
burn."
matter what Kevin's saying.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're done here. We're out. Where'd you go? You jerk! Come back. All right. See you later.
Right here.